Wimmera Footy Report. Scotty Stewart from the Herald is with us. And Scotty, how are you today?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Wayne.
Well, it's an interesting run home, isn't it? We've got the top five looks probably set. I mean, you don't like to say that with still 7 matches to go in a way. You wouldn't want to say it's set, but it feels like it is.
Yeah, I was looking that way, and the result last weekend where Minyip Murtoa did the job over Stawell and put a 2-game break on him, and yeah, that's going to be tough to make up in the last run home to the finals. As you say, the last 6-7 rounds, but it's got to be played. So yeah, look, you don't want to say it, but and you never know what's going to happen, but it's looking that way.
The conundrums are that the top 5 sides end up playing each other anyway in this run home. Dimmy got all of the other top 5 sides in their last 4 sort of matches, whereas the Southern Mallee Giants in their next 4 matches get them. So the moment of truth arrives for the Southern Mallee Giants. Still some injury concerns with Jake Garvey out of their side with a hamstring. So they've still got some work to do to get that top 3.
They have, and they do have a game up their sleeve with having a bye last week, so that'll be handy for them. But yeah, as you say, this next month for them, and as we also mentioned, a couple of injury worries with Kieran still. He'll be out for most of those weeks, I would imagine. But if they can get a few fellas back over the next few weeks, and that'll help them out. But yeah, tough run the next month, and as you said, Minyip Murtoa this weekend, thanks to Dimmy and Ararat, before they finish against the lower sides. But they'll be just concentrating on that one this weekend, and got the Burrows fairly well in their sights.
Having a look last weekend, you did mention Minyip Murtoa, that 10-goal plus win against Stawell, when you're 5th and 6th on the ladder, and Minyip was the home deck. What happened to Stawell? The Warriors went missing?
I'm thinking that they just had a bad day away from their home ground, which they're going to have to get used to for the next 4 or 5 games away in the last 6 or 7. So can't speak for the Stawell team, but I'm thinking the Burrows might have coming out there thinking, right, this is it. We put 2 games on these fellas, and we don't really. One of our main challenges, will be gone. So I'm thinking that the Burrows would have been pretty keen for this one.
Jai Walter played well, and Corey Morgan having a brilliant season with the best player. It was a good effort from Walter with 3. Having a look at the other matches, Ararat beat Nil 12-11 to 4-11 at Ararat. I reckon Nil, apart from their inaccurate kicking here, and early on particularly, they could have put some scoreboard pressure on it. 1-6 to 3-2 in the first quarter. Nil weren't certainly done with, and I think there's some good signs at Nil this year.
Definitely, if you look at that there, and I can go back to the week before when they played Dimbulla. Again, they copped probably a 10-goal loss, but the scoring shots that they had, I think at one stage they had 1-11 on the board or something. You look at this one, they got 1-6 and then 2-9. They've had 11 shots to 9 up to half time, but just the accuracy in front of goal or the pressure from the Ararat defence has put them off there. But it's a strange one, isn't it, with the lower sides. Just struggle to get that the goal kicking power going, and you can see they're having plenty of shots, but just not putting them through the tall ones.
And Timmy kicked 18-11 to beat Warwick Eagles 10-5. That was for the newspaper photographer who covers both of the games here, the Eagles with the Herald paper and Dimbulla with the Banner paper. You probably had a bit of an easier day for your photography.
Yeah, you're definitely right there, and it makes it a bit easier to cover through a couple of papers there with Dimbulla and the Warwick Herald. So that wasn't a bad week for this one. But that game last week was an interesting game. The Dimbulla was in control from the get-go, and 6 goals in the first quarter, 6 goals in the second, and they really stamped that authority in the second there. But then the third quarter there, they maintained that pressure, and going into the last quarter, that at one stage there was 18 goals to 6. The Eagles have come home with the last 4 goals a day, so really just added a little bit of respectability. But it was a bit of a positive sign for the Eagles boys to maybe take into this week. But Timmy were up and about, and John Ross up there kicking 5, and they just had way too much scoring power.
Yeah, Joe McKinnon kicked 4. He's got 18 for the season, starting to become a focal point. Riley Morrow and Lockie Stewart, a good player there too. Matty John, very good. John Ross kicked 5 goals and was one of the best players on the ground in the end. And the final match was Horsham Saints easily over the D's in Sunday's match. I don't ever see this too often where the Saints absolutely flogged the Demons by this amount, 17-11 to 4-9.
They're on a scoring spree. The Saints at the moment, aren't they? They're coming off 20 goals a couple of weeks ago and 17 this week. And Jared Garth up there is extended his lead in the goal kicking with another 7 on Sunday. But yeah, big Sunday battle there in front of a good crowd. And the Saints they dominated this clash. And as you said, you don't see that too often when you have these the crosstown rivals playing each other, but the Saints got the job done there and moved themselves into second spot, so that was a big win for them.
Very big win. This week's games down at Beulah, and they get their goods and services auction going. They want to get their footy going before that because Minyip Murtoa, the opposition, Kieran Delahunty doesn't get to play against his old side. Sammy White is out, still injured with syndesmosis in the ankle, having an operation on that, as we just heard earlier. Big Garvey's out with a hamstring, so they got some injury problems still, the Giants, and they wouldn't want to take Minyip Murtoa lightly after a good effort from the Burrows last week.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking this one's right up the Burrows alley, this one. Probably lucky that the Giants they're at Beulah at home, and as you said, before the big goods and services auction, which will be a big night for them. But you just look at the injury worries for the Giants, and maybe the Burrows, they're just they're ready to fire and take so much out of that game against Stawell last weekend. But they'll go very, very close in this game. The Giants could well just hang on in the last kick, but you think of a couple of meetings that these two teams have had over the last couple of years, and maybe the Giants just getting over the line. But I'm only basing that really on the home ground advantage there. With I think Minyip Murtoa will be right in this game.
I reckon so too. It's a very good match. Tanner Smith in that Minyip Murtoa side. Corey Morgan in good form. Luke Fisher still runs around brilliantly for them. On the other side of the ledger, you've still got Coleman Shack in the middle. He's a very good player for the Southern Mallee Giants. Having a look at other matches in round 12, it's going to be the Eagles against Ararat. I reckon we could probably start shooting for goal right now, you and I, for the Eagles, and I reckon Ararat will still come home with a wet sail at Anzac Park.
Yeah, top versus bottom in this battle, and the visitors will be starting a very heavy favourite. But the Eagles return to Anzac Park for the first time in about 6 weeks, so they'll be happy about that with a couple of breaks and a couple of games at Bremen and a couple of away games. So Anzac Park will come up a treat anyway for the visiting Ararat team, and Matty Wilder will return to one of his old stomping grounds. And but I'm thinking they might come away with a fairly handy win here. The Eagles, they'll as I said before, they'll take a lot of confidence out of what they did last week. They blooded a couple of debuts in the seniors over the last couple of weeks. So, Danny Bell's doing well with this team. He's been moving them around a little bit, and it'll be a tough battle tomorrow because the Rats are up and about for sure.
Well, the D's and the Dimmies continue their hostilities. Maybe not quite the level they were 10 years ago when Dimmy got that premiership with the D's former coach. But I would suggest to you that Dimmy will be very good at Horsham City Oval.
I'm thinking Dimmy will be fairly handy at the City Oval as well, yeah. And if given the right conditions, and I think they're not going to be too bad over the weekend. But the Horsham will be pretty keen to bounce back after. Well, maybe not bounce back, but put up a bigger showing after last week's effort at Coghlan Park there. But Jimmy, they're ticking over. They're ticking over nicely. They probably missed a chance last week to really bury the Eagles in that end of that last quarter. But they've done well and truly enough up until that point. And they've got a couple, one back in, and they lose another one. Billy Hayes rejoins the Dimmy team, and Dylan Lance will be missing. But they're pretty stable, the Dimmy team at the moment. They haven't had too many injury worries, and they seem to be able to replace the cattle that they are missing. But I think they'll push this one pretty well and be too strong for the D's.
I think the Saints will put the Warriors away, and the Warriors will have more worries because they won't be playing finals football, particularly given their lack of home ground games for the rest of the season. I think the Saints comfortably.
Yeah, I would agree with that because they're back at Coghlan Park and they love playing Coghlan Park. So it's definitely a huge advantage for them. And coming off that win, what they produced last week, and big leading forward up there, he might be in for another bag of goals this weekend. But Stawell, it was a pretty good defence, so they'll put some. They'll have one of their best on Big Garthy up there and in the goal square, and they'll need to because he might put another bag through. But I'm thinking the Saints will be too strong this one, and they'll keep that second spot for another week for sure.
Yeah, great weekend of footy, local footy, probably windy, probably not so great at conditions to play in. We'll hear more about it from the Warwick Herald. Scotty Stewart next week. We'll catch you then.
No worries. Anyway.